maybe there have been some criticism that Ohio State is a landing spot for those folks, and I wonder if maybe you can address whether this is sort of intended as a full employment offer for
That's about the goofiest damn question I've ever heard. No, that's not the intent for it. I get what you're trying to delicately dance, but no, I'm not looking to come here to work for this institute at Ohio State. That's never been the premise for it. It's never what I've even had a conversation with. It has always solely been about a conversation about doing something that builds an institute that is, look, here, I find the National Speakers Conference is actually one of the major institutes in the nation that's still bipartisan. It's the largest gathering of elected state leaders in the nation that is still bipartisan. They haven't split it off where you have the RGA and the Democrats have their own. And yet I find that every time that we're in the room together, I mean, I'm close friends with Pete Schwarzkopf, who is Delaware Speaker of the House, and he's as far to the left as you can get, and Robin Voss and I are probably as far to the right as you can get. But yet we are closer than ever, and we still call each other because at the end of the day, there's commonality between what our jobs, we find what we do and what we have to do. It's the same emphasis that you can have when you put elected leaders at each level, whether it's township trustees, county commissioners, our city councils, or even here at our legislature. If we keep finding an avenue to put people together long term, I think the vision of this will be that it creates leaders that can get back to a point that they think about working across party lines to do things that are right for our communities, not for what's just, not because the Democratic party's calling you up or the Republican party's calling you up and say you better do this or you're going to lose in the November election. It shouldn't be about whether you're going to lose in a November election. It should be about what are you doing to make the right policy decisions. And that you find by building those relationships and that by putting people into the room, you can build that cohesion that allows people to think that way long term. And that's what this institute's really going to be all about. And this is not a landing spot for Dean Brown. Has his tools ahead of him to figure out how to go forward to make a model program in our state that also can someday shine for our nation, but also be a tool for our legislature to continue to help Ohio. This is all this is about. There's nothing about personal gain and personal interest. It's about how, well, I guess there is in the fact that I hope that in a year and a half when I leave, we still are able to get more legislators and more elected officials that are willing to do what's good, not what's popular, or do something for them. Matter of fact, I'll just be frank, I'm term limited out and I'm not running for anything, so let me just tell you some more. I think that you also got to get away from thinking about what your next step is. And we have that problem more so than ever in our institutions. And so getting the right-minded people to want to actually continue to move in a direction to serve is what this is all about. That it's all about service, not about where your next paycheck's coming from. So that's why that question has nothing to do with this whatsoever. I know in 2017 it's hard to believe, especially from the press, that we want to do something that is good to do that, but that's what this is all about, is trying to move our nation and our state and our communities in a better direction to be able to work for what's the right decisions, what's the right principles for our state and our communities. And that's why it's also, I don't want to miss this point out, because one of the things I told Dean Brown is going to be crucial is not just training our current leaders, but tomorrow's leaders, and having the young folks that always are a part of this institution here at Ohio State be able to be a part of watching how some of this plays out. That's why I asked Dean Brown when we started the Buckeye Pathway to include some of his students to see and to communicate with us on what they think that the vision of our state should be into the future. So that's what this institute's all about. It's going to start small, and it's clearly going to continue to have roots and grow, I hope, to become a strong tree that provides a lot of shade for a lot of folks in our communities. But I believe wholeheartedly in the fact that, look, this didn't just come off like a light bulb and say, okay, let's just spend money to start something else and spin our wheels. I was very, very clear to the dean, to President Drake, look, if you don't think this is something we really need to do for our communities in our state, then we don't need to do it. And so we all said equally, let's start asking the questions. And Dean Brown has a lot of contacts around the nation, and because John Glenn's looked at it as an institute with you know, a lot of integrity and a lot of credit. And so they said, yeah, this is something you guys continue to move forward on. That's what this is all about.